صل على محمد وآل محمد.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين. Dear brothers and sisters, today I want to tell my story of how I became a follower of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salatu wassalam. This is translated from my Arabic video that I did last time. So the beginning of my journey was to learn about Islamic history starting in 2012. So I started watching Dr. Adnan Ibrahim's lectures and Friday sermons, etc. And I watched his series on Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan, and he directed me in one of these lectures to Dr. Hassan Farhan al-Malik, who is a Saudi scholar specializing in Hadith and Islamic history. So before I hated Shia, I was a Sunni all my life. However, with Dr. al-Maliki, this turned around and they begin to love Ahlul Bayt. Then I opened my mind and watched several Shia scholars such as Ahmad al-Wa'ili, Kamal al-Haydari, Yasir Auda, and I learned so much from them. May Allah reward them all. So then I watched the CV program called Historic Facts, which is by Al-Kautar TV. Dr. Abdelbaqi al-Jazairi hosted Dr. Farhan al-Maliki and Dr. Suhail Zakkar and Sheikh Yusuf al-Gharawi. So all are historians, and it has like 44 or 45 episodes on the events that happened from or before the death of the Prophet, peace be upon him, and his family, and the aftermath of his death. So then I digged into Farhan al-Maliki's website and read some of his books and essays, etc. Like Suhba and Sahaba. He has a book on companions and companionship. And actually, Dr. Adnan Ibrahim relayed on that when he talked about Muawiyah, etc. So another essay of Farhan al-Maliki is the 4 degrees of Muawiyah and their impact on Hadith and beliefs, the first generation of the companions, Abu Sufyan's infidelity and hypocrisy from the conquest of Mecca to the era of Uthman ibn Affan, the book of Sunnah of Al-Barbahari. Farhan al-Maliki actually criticized that book. So companions who witnessed Badr battle, but they are called hypocrites by the Salafis. So hadith about cursing Abu Sufyan and his allies by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then I went on and read more about why this position for Ibn Taymiyyah. So Ibn Taymiyyah was this scholar who actually hated Ahlul Bayt. At least that's obvious from his writings, and that's his books and doctrines are actually adopted by the Salafis today. So, and Farhan al-Maliki wrote an essay on why Ibn Taymiyyah has all this importance in the Salafi and Wahhabi world. The general position of the companions in the affliction of Uthman, criticism of the book called the Sawa'iq al-Mursala. So he wrote an essay criticizing that. The companions of Ali ibn Abi Talib who witnessed the Battle of Badr, a research paper or essay on Basmala, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, because Muawiyah was the first to actually silence it in his reading or prayers. He silenced the Basmala, while the Prophet ﷺ and Ahlul Bayt say the Basmala, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, louder in prayer, etc. That shows how he was falsifying the Islamic traditions and changing them. Islam of Ali and the Islam of Muawiyah. So then I read Hadith. I am leaving behind 2 things that the Prophet ﷺ stated. And of course, this Hadith is controversial between Sunni and Shia. So the Prophet, peace be upon him, and his pure family said in a Hadith called Hadith at-Taqalain, I left among you two treasures, which if you cling to them, you shall not be led into error after me. One of them is greater than the other, the book of God, the Quran, which is a rope stretched from heaven to earth, and the second is my progeny, my Ahlul Bayt. These two shall not be parted until they return to the pool of abundance in paradise, back to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this hadith is authentic and is narrated by many scholars, Sunni and Shia and others, and basically here the Prophet peace be upon him and his family, said that I left behind you the Quran and my itra, my progeny. So my progeny should be able to interpret the Quran for you and keep you straight. So then Hadith Al-Ghadir, where the Prophet, peace be upon him and his family, when he came back from Hajj, he stopped at a place called Ghadir Khum. There were thousands of Muslims, from 100 to 100,000, 120,000 Muslims, and he gave a sermon which is 2 hours long, but an excerpt from it is, he said, peace be upon him, O people, know that Allah has assigned Ali as a guardian and a leader for you, whose obedience is obligatory for the immigrants, the helpers, and those who follow them in goodness, and for everyone, whether normal or city resident, Arab or non-Arab, free or slave, young or old, white or black, and for every monotheist. Ali's decree is to be carried out, his saying is sanctioned as law, and his command is effective. Cursed is whoever opposes him, blessed with mercy is whoever follows him. Faithful is whoever acknowledges his virtues and right. Indeed, Allah has covered him and those who listen to him and obey him with mercy and forgiveness. O people, this is the last stand I make in this gathering, thus listen, obey, and submit to the command of your Lord. For Allah, the Mighty and the Majestic, is your Mawla. Then Muhammad, who is now addressing you, is your Mawla. Then after me, Ali is your Wali and your Imam. By the command of Allah, your Lord, then leadership shall be within his offspring until the day you meet Allah and his messenger. Uncle. So that's what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told thousands of Muslims, and they actually came and shook the hand of Ali alayhi salam that day. But of course, after just 2 months and 10 days, they turned around and disobeyed this order from the Prophet, peace be upon him. So are these two hadiths good enough? I say yes, indeed. These two hadiths should be good enough for a Muslim to obey the Prophet, peace be upon him, and his pure family, and stick with following Imam Ali, peace be upon him, and his progeny from Fatima Zahra, the daughter of the Prophet, peace be upon them all. Those are the Prophet's immediate family that God chooses for us to follow, and the Prophet directed us to follow. So I don't know what else do we need. So then, after all these readings and digging into the literature and history, 8 years of research, I declared my return to the Prophet and Ahlul Bayt, peace be upon them all, on Ramadan 2020, which is just after the pandemic started, but officially on Muharram 10th, 2020, the day of Istishhad Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. Therefore, I urge all my brothers and sisters in humanity to study Islamic history and seek the truth for themselves. Have a sincere intention to God in seeking the truth, and there is no doubt in my mind that this will lead them to pledge allegiance to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his family, Ahlul Bayt, peace be upon them. Thank you, and peace be upon you all.